Thank you. Colleagues, good afternoon. Welcome to this webinar titled Harnessing the Power of Legumes, Climate Solution Rooted in Mediterranean Food Tradition. It's my pleasure to moderate today's session and to extend a warm welcome to our distinguished panelists and all participants joining us. Today, we gather to spotlight the strategic importance of legume in sustainable food system across the Mediterranean. The main objective of our discussion is to build a cross-regional partnership that enable practical, innovative solutions for the challenges we face collectively. Before we begin, let me outline the simple rules of this session. We will start with a recorded message from the Secretary General of CIAHEAM, Professor Teodoro Miano, followed by a message from Deputy Director of the CIAHEAM Bari, Dr. Biagio Di Tirlizzi, and then we will start the first round of questions. We will give each panelist up to 3 minutes to share their insights. We will then present a video on the Beans network, after which a second round of comment will allow panelists less than 2 minutes each to reflect on the video and share key message. Let us now begin this important conversation. The first speaker is Professor Teodoro Miano. Professor Teodoro Miano, he is the Secretary General of CIAHEAM, and he is sharing the Beans Legume Network. Professor Miano unfortunately could not join us due to an unexpected professional commitment, but he sent a recorded message. Can you give the message of Teodoro Miano, please?
Welcome to COP29. Within this very big event, CIAHEAM has organized an important webinar on legumes and the impact on legumes on the food system in the Mediterranean. The webinar will be moderated by Professor Mouin Hamze, who is with us today, and we invited a number of renowned scientists and technical experts coming from different geographical areas of the Mediterranean, different kind of expertise, different kind of knowledge and institutional relationship. It's a very important event for us because we believe that the role of legumes in the Mediterranean food system is extremely important in terms of managing somehow the impact of climate changes, because we have a strong influence in the cropping system with the inclusion of legumes. We have a different impact on the utilization of the natural resources, mainly water and soil. And of course, we have a strong impact in terms of socio-economical aspect, such as the help to the resilience of local and fragile communities, and therefore also related to their commerce and their trades of legume products. This meeting is extremely significant because, in a way, it's trying to launch the idea of starting a network on legumes in the Mediterranean, and more precisely, a meta-network. We define it a meta-network because we try to gather and to federate all the existing information coming from different actors and stakeholders of the area in terms of legume qualities, nutritional aspect, nutraceutical aspect, data concerning the importance in cropping system, data concerning the impact of environmental changes, data concerning the genetics and the diversity of the products. So this is the idea of creating a meta network on legumes that his name will be probably Beans, and you will watch a very short video during the meeting today, which will describe shortly the things that I'm trying to say. I would like to thank very much the moderator and all the participants for being with us today, and I look forward to include their expertise and their involvement in future actions of the network of CIHEAM. Beans.
Thank you for Teodoro Miano for his nice message. And now I would like to give the floor to Biagio Di Terlizzi. Biagio Di Terlizzi, Deputy Director of CIHEAM Bari, and he is sharing the Mid-Diet project and feed platform, who were at the origin of all our initiative today. Most of the colleagues present with us were partner in this project. Biagio Di Terlizzi, your message, please.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Good morning. Thank you, Professor Ramsey. Thank you to the Secretary General, Professor Gumiano. And I would like to say hello to all the participants. I was not planned in the agenda, and sorry if I'm just making this connection from the car going to the airport in Cairo. Just two things I would like to say. One, this network is sustained by the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs through the Institute of Bari, and it has been an activity after 2 years of the project MEDAI that was focusing on nutritional and healthy benefit and environmental impact that the chain of legumes are offered, and specifically the fava beans, the lentils, the beans, and the chickpea. We are interested to strengthen this in order to also collect as a good practice that are provided by different networks. In fact, as has been said, this is a meta network, but also we would like to use the platform feed to promote what are the best practices that are done in several countries. Legumes for the contents of protein can substitute the meat, but just yesterday I heard that there are some areas of Italy where is just cannot, because it is a kind of social standing to say that there is a consumption instead of legumes, and there are no production of legumes in areas, mountain areas, in certain mountain areas of Italy. They're more strategic in the South Mediterranean country, and this is why we would like to support the establishment of a value chain that could really bring a benefit, not only from economical point of view, but also from nutritional and healthy. Thank you very much. And unfortunately, I have to leave because I'm not sure about the connection. And I wish you really success of this Thank you to.
Thank you, Dr. Di Terlizzi, and we hope that this project will continue and will have one of the most important output will be the launching of the network, as you mentioned, and as mentioned by the Secretary General. Now, I will go to the first speaker of this webinar, Dr. Teodardo Calles. You are with us, Teodardo. Dr. Teodardo Calles. Okay. Is he with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Thank you, Teodardo, for joining us. Let me present it briefly. Teodardo Calles, he is an agricultural officer at the Plant Production and Protection Division of the FAO, who advocate for the inclusion of legume in agricultural production as a means to improve the sustainability of production system and nutrition in smallholder farmers. My question to Teodardo Calles is, what best practices has the FAO identified for overcoming barriers to legume adoption, and how might this support the beans network strategy?
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation and thank you for the question. I will make a small summary. I think that I will point out 4 issues here that are important. I think the first thing will be improving knowledge. I think extension and advisory survey should teach farmers how diversify farming system and the use of legumes for soil fertility management, pest control, and reducing input costs can help to improve the adoption of the legumes. The use of demonstration plough can help also to reduce the scepticism and increase the trust on these practices. No, that is the first thing, and I think then we need enhanced seed availability and quality. We know many legumes and pulses that have been proved to have a good impact, a positive impact in the system. However, due to the lack of seed, this not can be used. And then we need to start developing and selecting new varieties to adapt to local conditions in order to improve adoption of legumes. Third, I think, as the Vice Secretary said, I think Mr. Bayo said, it is important market support. No, we need to develop reliable profit value chains because we cannot encourage to change to other legume crop if we don't have this value chain where farmers can sell and profit from their products. No. Last but not least, we need to develop a social cultural acceptance. Despite of multiple benefits of pulses and legumes in general, the per capita consumption has declined due to the attitude changes or consumer preference. Sometimes also the production doesn't go in the pace with the market. That means it's less produced than the market needs. This situation has been also been heightened by the assumption in many countries that legumes and pulses are the food for the poor people. And then in FAO, we have made an awareness campaign implemented when we implement the International Year of Pulses. We have heard a bit to change the perception of the public about pulses. However, the job is still not to be done. I think this creation of the beans network can help further to change this consumer perception and make farmers to adopt more legumes. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Teodardo. I will go directly to Dr. Antonella Ottini. Antonella.
Yes. Good evening. Good evening. Do you hear me?
Good evening. Antonella Ottini is the coordinator of the PRIMA program and the project coordinator of the Coordinated Support Action Future for PRIMA. My question to Antonella Ottino, in what ways does PRIMA see legume contributing to climate resilience and food security in Mediterranean agriculture? You have 3 minutes, Antonella.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for the kind invitation. It's really a pleasure to be with you today and have the opportunity to speak about how Prima is actively acting to support the role of legumes in strengthening climate resilience and also food security. Prima, well, very shortly, is a new partnership, is dedicated to addressing the Mediterranean region's pressing challenge in water management, farming system, and agri-food value chain through research and innovation, putting together 20 participating states from both shores of the Mediterranean. And it aims to develop, in fact, innovative solutions through its project, regionally tailored, and promoting climate resilience and optimizing resource use, which are unsustainable still, and also ensuring environmental sustainability. So as you see, legumes are a key part of the solution. And for Prima, well, in fact, we consider as globally that they enrich soil by fixing nitrogen, reducing rely on chemical fertilizer, and allow lower costs for farmers, but also reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So also legumes are highly efficient in water use and resilient to drought, making them ideal for the Mediterranean challenge climate. So for this reason, Prima is supporting well, several projects. To the moment we are supporting 238 projects which are running, and some of them I would like to highlight with giving some numbers to highlight the importance of legumes and how they, in fact, we have demonstrated their importance in the region. To face the climate resilience. So, for example, the project Divisia in Italy and Spain, through the project, farmers have achieved a 20% increase in soil nitrogen, improving soil fertility and productivity in their plot. With a Change Up project in Tunisia and Morocco, the fertilizer use was reduced by 20% and water use by 25% in their slots. So it's in the specific demo sites that they were developing, helping, in fact, farmers to adapt to the drought conditions. And well, finally, a Legumes project, which has finished, now we will finish in the next days, is about to finish, has identified drought-resistant legumes, reducing crop failures by 20% in some trials across Italy, Tunisia, and Algeria. This example showcases the potential of legumes. However, many of those are still in their early stage. Some are finishing. But in fact, a continued investment is essential to advance this innovation and scale up their impact. So allow me to award also on beyond the environmental benefits, the legume offer the advantage to communities being rich in protein and essential nutrients, so providing sustainable alternative to grains and animal proteins. We have had some calls in this sense with some projects, for example, local nut leg, where farmers develop chickpea snacks and lentil pasta, a blended tradition with innovation and increase income by 50%. As well, another project, which is at the midterm, this is creating high quality protein ingredient from legumes, driving advance in feed production. So this example illustrates how legume bridge sustainability and tradition. I like very much this aspect in terms of innovation and tradition of the Mediterranean diet. And looking ahead, Prima in its upcoming call, I'm speaking about the next call 2025, will continue to emphasize plant-based proteins and the use of legumes. So we will consider this aspect, which is very relevant for and because it's for the Mediterranean, so as to use and upscale the result that we have achieved so far. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Antonella. I would like to go now to the team who were involved directly in the Med-Diet project, as mentioned by Biagio De Terlizzi. First of all, with Dr. Gianluigi Cardone. He is a researcher at CIHEAM Bari and managing the environment task of Med-Diet project. My question to Gianluigi: what environmental benefit the Med-Diet project in adopted legume-based agriculture practices and promotion has identified? You have 3 minutes, Gianluigi.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the question that allows me to talk briefly about the results of the second phase of Med-Diet project. This project is continuing for the third phase. One of the project objectives was to make a preliminary assessment on the environmental impacts according on the life cycle assessment methodology using the CIMA Pro software. Therefore, the project allowed us to interview 108 producers of legumes such as peas, chickpeas, cowpeas, lentils, broad beans, and beans, considering only local landrace varieties in the 10 Mediterranean countries of the Balkans, the Maghreb, Mashrek macro areas. The small producers of the legumes local varieties responded to a technical questionnaire useful for collecting information on input and yields in the cultivation field. I would like that this is a part of the project. Several environmental impact indicators were evaluated, particularly global warming, eutrophication, acidification, damage on ecosystem quality, and damage against resources used in the field, to name a few. The analytical results of the local varieties of the legumes in the target Mediterranean countries confirm that the legumes have a lower environmental impact per unit of product and the cultivated area than other more intensive planting annual crops, for example, tomato, potato, tomato, and etc. etc. With regard to the target 6 species that we selected, we obtain at the general level that for the global warming indicator, there is not correlation between the fixed nitrogen and the CO2 equivalent emitted. In other words, carbon footprint. The beans has the highest global warming indicator value, depend essentially on the measure inorganic fertilization. At the contrary, the cowpea has the lowest global warming indicator value, which depends the low use on inorganic fertilizer, normally only organic fertilizer, manual agricultural operation, non-pesticide used, based on the rural traditional agricultural practices. For the acidification indicators, we evaluate that the bean has the highest value, depend on higher use of nitrogen fertilizer fuel by machine. At the contrary, the chickpea, the cowpea have the lowest acidity indicators value, depend on very low use of the nitrogen fertilizer and the very low use of the machine. For the eutrophication indicator, overall, the very low value depends on the low use of the inputs about to damage linked to the eutrophication, such as nitrogen, phosphorus fertilizer machine is a low use. In particular, the chickpea is slightly higher than others species depend on the main application of the phosphorus fertilizer. Then about the indicator of damage on ecosystem quality, the lentils has the highest value with the higher impact of the land use. At the end, the indicator of damage to resources used in the field, broad beans have the highest value, especially depending on the consumption of the fossil fuels in the field. In conclusion, after the second phase of the study, we confirm that the local and landrace varieties of legumes have a low impact on the environment, even lower than international varieties of the legumes. Moreover, the 6 target legumes contribute to mitigation of the climate change and the reduction of loss of the biodiversity. In the next weeks, we will submit an article on a scientific journal. Thank you.
Thank you, Gianluigi. My next speaker is Professor Nahla Hwalla. Professor Hwalla is Professor of Human Nutrition at the American University of Beirut and the President of the Lebanese Order of Dietitians. She actively contributed to the nutritional and nutraceutical task of the Med-Diet project. Professor Hwalla, my question is, what specific nutritional benefit do legumes offer according to the Med-Diet project output? And how can this be promoted to Mediterranean community?
Thank you, Dr. Hamzi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
To build on the previous presenter, in addition to being a very sustainable product and to preserve environmental sustainability, legumes have a great potential in terms of addressing nutritional issues. For example, this part of the world suffers from food insecurity, protein energy malnutrition, hidden hunger, which is vitamins and minerals deficiencies, in addition to non-communicable diseases, high incidence of obesity, of diabetes, of cancer. This is where the need to increase available and affordable foods that have high nutritional quality while safeguarding the environment is crucially important. So we can think of legumes as an important vehicle for transition into sustainability. The Med-Diet project has provided us with an enormous source that characterized legumes and with higher nutritional and antioxidant properties. So they have screened all these cultivars and provided the best, and we could identify the best in terms of their nutritional qualities. So it allowed a selection of species and cultivars of legumes from many countries, such as Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, Jordan, and Egypt, that are distinguished for their advantageous nutrition content, such as proteins, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants profile, and for their contribution to the requirements of these nutritional products. According to the Med-Diet project, legumes offer enormous nutritional benefits. For example, in terms of proteins, we can think of them as alternative proteins to animal proteins, which are being recommended to be decreased all over the world. In 100 grams of cooked legumes, you can find 10 grams almost of proteins. They are also a good source of dietary fiber, of antioxidants, and also of vitamins such as vitamin E and other B vitamins. Legumes are low in fat, they are cholesterol free, they have low glycemic index, they are good for diabetics, and they have anti-diabetic and anti-cancer properties because of the antioxidants. When you combine grains with legumes, we can form a complete protein which can easily replace animal proteins.
Good.
For example, In lentils varieties, I'll take only one example, but the varieties that have been studied were lentils, fava beans, chickpeas, and beans. In lentils, for example, varieties were selected because of their vitamin E content. This vitamin is very important. It's an antioxidant. It supports the immune system. It helps maintain healthy skin and eyes. It decreases the risk of diseases such as cardiovascular diseases and cancer. Just to give an example, the recommended amount that is needed, that is recommended for vitamin E is 15 milligrams, which I'm happy to say that this 15 milligrams can be provided by only 100 grams of lentils. The effective dose of antioxidants is also important. And the research have shown that flavonoids, which are antioxidants, were associated with decreased cardiovascular risk in a linear manner. That is, as you increase, the risk will decrease. And it was calculated at 500 milligrams per day. Now, how much legumes can provide us with flavonoids? This amount of 500 milligrams per day can be provided by 170 grams of cooked fava beans, 170, which is a small amount, and of 120 grams of cooked beans from Lebanon. So it is achievable. It's not a huge amount that is not achievable. Here, I would like to say an alert that the data available that we have collected in this MedDiet project, they were on raw legumes. And this data has to be verified for cooked ones in future studies. Just to give an idea, it appears that almost 50% of these nutrients and these nutraceuticals are lost in processing or in cooking. But this is something that needs to be verified and find out how much is left in the after cooking. So in conclusion, the distinguished nutritional value of legumes is affected by the specific type of legume, which one? The cultivar within that specific type of legumes, the processing and cooking methods that could affect their nutrient and anti-nutrient oxidant levels, and the studies on the effect of cooking methods maintaining superior contribution of legumes to health, nutrition, and the environment are urgently needed.
Thank you, Professor Hwalla. My quick question: Are you preparing a paper on the nutritional output of MedDiet project?
Yeah, I'm contributing to a paper in which the more detailed information is going to be provided about the contribution of the MedDiet to the legumes.
Thank you. Next speaker is Joachim Baldiuk, Dr. Baldiuk from CIHEAM Saragossa. Currently, he is the project manager of BELIS, innovation action aiming to increase the competitiveness of the legume breeding sector in the EU and associated countries. Joachim, you are with us?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. Welcome. So my question is, could you explain the importance of local legume varieties, as you heard about the varieties from Levant country, from North Africa and Balkan in MedDiet project? Could you explain the importance of local legume varieties in achieving both biodiversity and market scalability in Mediterranean agriculture?
Of course, thank you very much, Professor Hamze, and all our CIHEAM colleagues. Thank you also for the invitation to participate in this session. Well, local legume varieties has been cultivated for centuries in the Mediterranean region, which means that they possess unique genetic adaptations to the specific climatic conditions. Here we are talking about drought tolerance, heat resistance, resilience to pests and diseases. So in this sense, and considering the challenge posed by climate change, we can state without any doubt that the importance of local legume varieties is crucial. And this lies in the fact that thanks to these unique genetic adaptations, these varieties are suitable for low input farming systems. So farmers can reduce their dependence on chemical inputs and conserve natural resources with the consequent positive impact on biodiversity. And in terms of market scalability, well, breeding programs play a key role here, and local legume varieties have a huge potential in these programs due to their wide genetic resistance to stress, weed competition ability, and biological nitrogen fixation efficiency, so they can be used to breed new varieties with better adaptation and higher yield. So breeding programs are also essential to ensure the access to quality seeds in order to overcome possible obstacles that may limit the cultivation of these local varieties. So in this sense, it is essential to count on the role of initiatives such as the Horizon Europe project Belize, of which CIHEAM Zaragoza is a partner in the consortium. Belize is a multi-actor consortium with different representatives of the legume value chain, including research and technical institutes, plant breeders, seeds companies, as well as other relevant actors in the legume breeding from 18 different countries, including, among others, the Mediterranean ones such as Spain, France, Italy, and Lebanon. And the aim of Belize is to increase the competitiveness of the EU and associated countries' legume breeding industry by improving the methodologies and the governance structures, and to design as well conditions that allow an efficient delivery of the achieved genetic progress to breeders, to seed industry, registration offices, extension services as well, feed and food industry, and of course to farmers at the end. So in a nutshell, Belize gives the conditions to produce a strong genetic progress for legume crops, so that the offer of improved legume varieties is not a limit to legume cultivation. So just to conclude, I just would like to highlight again that the local legume varieties are crucial for contributing to crop diversification and reducing inputs as well as energy consumption in agriculture, and therefore build sustainable and climate resilient food system in the Mediterranean region. Thank you.
Joachim, I have a quick question. Are you coordinating your research work with ICARDA? Because I know that ICARDA is very active in the genetical approach for legume. They have a global mandate even.
Absolutely. Actually, ICARDA is part of the consortium of Belize, and they have an active role in that sense. Yeah.
Thank you. My next speaker is Professor Konstantinos Matas, a distinguished professor at Aristotle University in Thessaloniki and CIHEAM in Greece, specialized in agricultural policy, focusing on agricultural and social policy, rural development, and interdisciplinary research. Professor Matas, my question is, how can legume contribute to sustainable economic development and resilience for Mediterranean countries facing climate-related challenges? Professor Matas.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. And first I would like to say to the panelists and to the audience that we have involved in two big EU-funded projects. One is called Legendary, and is dealing solely with legumes. And the other one is called BioValue, that I coordinate. It is dealing also on the contribution of biodiversity and the food chain. So I will try a little bit to provide a response that is puzzling and abstract. The legumes is one of the largest crops that they are cultivated, and they have very, very unique characteristics. Some of the speakers, they discussed about and they talked. And just I will repeat all those characteristics, and then we can get to the value of those growths. First of all, they feed the people, and they feed the health of the people, the human health, very unique. Second, that usually we forget, and we in the Mediterranean area, we have experience for a long time, they feed the animals. They feed the animals dry, green, or grains. Third, they feed also the plants. Usually in Mediterranean area, they don't use fertilizers. They use the legumes to fertilize the plants. Very unique characteristic, and they apply very different systems. They apply rotations, intercrop systems, but they offer food to the plants. And fourth, I think, very unique, they feed the environment. Very unique. You can find legumes from north to south, in any climate, in any soil, any time of the season, anywhere. They contribute to biodiversity. They contribute to energy saving. They said to water. They support the pollination. Very unique for the environment. You save a lot of money just extending this particular group of growth. And finally, they fit the economy. When you have a resilient like this group, you don't have to estimate numbers. The numbers are usable, or the real value is unconsidered. I go further on. The legumes, they are not only legumes, very unique. They are fit very well to any diet. And we in the Mediterranean, we visually, we have seen different countries, different traditions, different cultures, different religions. They all adapt and adjust the legumes in their food dish. And those indigenous knowledge, this knowledge from the Mediterranean are the most important protocols for all the people, how it's gonna use in their diet, their food dish, the legumes. And it can combine and it can match with any sort of diet, any style of diet. And in this way, contributes a lot to survival and saves a lot of money. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Matas. We will be back to the main point you raised. And now I would like to introduce Dr. Hélène Lemaitre-Curie, Assistant to the Director of CIHEAM Montpellier. She is an agricultural economist and in public policy. Her work focuses on sustainability transitions in the Mediterranean region. We were listening so far to some technical aspect, genetical, nutritional, and the main initiative in the region through international organizations like FAO and PRIMA. And I would like to ask Dr. Lemaitre, what policy interventions or incentives do you believe are most effective in overcoming obstacles to legume production and consumption, such as market access, infrastructure, and consumer awareness? Dr. Lemaitre, vous avez 3 minutes, s'il vous plaît. Vous avez la parole.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your great introduction. I'm glad to be here with you this afternoon. I would like first to say that as all the speakers before have presented, there is clearly a need to strengthen the production and consumption of legumes, which are traditional in the Mediterranean region. But we have seen that both the production and the consumption have decreased in the region. And this is a key challenge for a sustainable transition in agriculture, as well as sustainable nutrition and the decrease of the public health issue associated with the diet in the Mediterranean region, which is becoming much worse as in recent years. There have been a few policies supporting legumes, from the research to the consumption in the region. And one of the key issues with these policies is that the legumes were not considered together with other strategic crops. They were not raised to the level of a strategic crop like it was the case for cereal production or for major export crops, for example. And what seems to be needed in the region is that the legumes are fully recognized as strategic and integrated at all stages of the policy design and policy intervention. And that's one aspect. And the other aspect is when we review the policy instruments that have been used, for example, in European countries to support the increase in legume production, there have been inconsistent policies, instruments that have lasted for a little while and then changed or be removed from the policy settings and reintroduced. And this type of weak policy signal and inconsistent policy signal is not sufficient to really balance out the fact that sometimes legume production is not as profitable for the producers if you don't take into account all the important externalities of the legume production and consumption through those policy instruments. So in general terms, legumes to be fully embedded in policy instruments and policy instruments to be consistent. Fully embedded in policy instruments means to increase the effort in research and innovation on pulses, on legumes, and at the production level, but also research and innovation in the agri-food and feed value chains and strong knowledge transfer program. The second aspect is to be included in the agricultural policy incentive instruments on the same level and even in a higher level than the cereal production, for example, and also to be included in the incentive of the food policies. There have been many food policies around the basin that have considered cereals, sometimes sugar and oil, but pulses need to be strongly supported in these policies, as well as we know the weight of those policies in changing consumption habits. And finally, the awareness campaign, it was mentioned by a number of speakers before. There is really a need for consumers to be more aware of the important diet and health benefits of the legume consumption. So, and finally, the structuration, connecting all those dots from the researchers to the consumers, going through the producers and the value chain. There is a need for structural support to the organization of the producers, often very disseminated, the producer of pulses, and to be able to reach fully structured value chain, they need support to the organization from producer level to the consumer, going through innovative and structured value chains. I'm trying not to be too long, but I think it's the coherency between the instruments and the consistency of those instruments over time that are the key factors for success.
Thank you, Madame Lemaitre. I'm happy and I'm delighted to introduce Professor Faris Houari. Faris Houari is from outside the Mediterranean region. He is the Dean of the College of Humanities and Science at Ajman University in United Arab Emirates and former Vice Provost at Fort Valley State University in USA. His research focused on environmental monitoring. He is also expert in sustainable water and energy management combined with his innovative approach to environmental education. Thank you, Faris Houari, for joining us. And my question for you is, what role can legume play in strategies for climate resilience, particularly in arid region of the Mediterranean or the Gulf region? Professor Houari, you have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you very much for the question, and thank you for the invitation. As a matter of fact, what my colleague mentions about the traits and the value and benefits of legumes make them really the super giant or the little marvels. And what they said actually intersect exactly with the climate resilience and all what it means. And one of its definition, as we know, it's the capacity of social, economic, and environmental system to cope with hazardous events, trends, or disturbances like droughts or maybe unpredicted rainfall or climate patterns. And our colleagues makes it very clear that legumes are drought tolerant and water efficient crops, and they have physiology that allow maturation stage before the drought cycles, and they adapt extremely well with low water content and the scarce water environment. And also, so they adapt well to high heat and certain level of salinity. And that's make them ideal to arid areas like the Mediterranean or other areas that could in the future be impacted by climate change and become arid. And the fact that that nitrogen fixation benefits, which my colleagues mentioned, decrease the consumption and the production of nitrogen fertilizers, and that will help reduce the greenhouse gases and has many benefits. And I believe also Mattis mentioned the intercropping and cropping benefits, and this has a lot of benefits in the breaking disease and pest cycles, and this will save us a lot of money, and it will save us save the environment as well. So basically, it has a lot of benefits, and we know also the deep root system, the relatively deep root system of the legumes and pulses is important for carbon sequestration and the residual decomposition very fast, and improve the aggregate of the soil and the soil structure and water retention, and makes the ecosystem of legumes water management friendly. And then, of course, we know water management is water production is associated with energy consumption, and that's actually it has a lot of greenhouse gases and carbon dioxide. Due to all of these reasons, actually, I think legumes can play, or is playing, a transformative role in climate resilience, especially in arid regions. And few figures just to make it to the importance of legumes. Each hectare actually sequesters about 1 ton of carbon dioxide and about 400 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare per year. So it's very, it has a lot of added values to climate resilience and many other benefits.
Thank you, Professor Faris Houari. My last speakers on my list is Dr. Hamu Lamrani from ESQA, United Nations Social and Economical for West Asia. And I have some doubt he was unable to join. He gets some technical problem. Is Dr. Lamrani with us? I don't think so. So I think we have to go to the third part of our webinar, is the presentation of the video. Can you post the video, please? Yes. It's 2
Beans,
minutes.
chickpeas, lentils, and other legumes have been a vital part of the Mediterranean diet for thousands of years, playing a key role in ensuring food security for millions.
We have launched a number of projects in several countries. Medite is the most recent one and sets together a very large number of countries working on the same topic. And the topic is to study, to analyze the quality, the cropping system, and also the impact on the nutritional aspect of the diet of 4 legumes with different varieties according to different environmental conditions.
Hundreds of samples collected across 17 Mediterranean countries revealed that legumes are key to a resilient food system. They enrich the soil and significantly decrease irrigation needs, offer vital nutrients and proteins to humans, and benefit the environment, placing farmers at the heart of a sustainable Mediterranean green economy.
Medite will produce a large set of data which are extremely important to set up the first Mediterranean corporate approach to the study of legumes. During one of the final meetings related to the first presentation of the results, the idea of building a network developed into the idea of building a network of networks.
A network of networks, a space that allows existing networks to talk to each other, where farmers, producers, distributors, research institutes, and international bodies can share and enhance their initiatives.
Cooperation gives the possibility to share knowledge, to share tools, and improve, importantly, the quality of the research.
Countries can really use legumes as a lever to modify also their policies. So we really offer a tool to share information at all levels, scientific, socio-economical, technical, training, education, and so on.
In these humble beings, we see the seeds of a sustainable future for the Mediterranean.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. And for the last part of this webinar, we have 16 minutes now to close the webinar. And I would like to benefit from this time to have your comments and your suggestion concerning the CIHEAM initiative on launching the beans meta network. I think 2 points should be developed. First of all, and if you know some example of initiative that align with the beans network objective, as briefly described in the video clip, and do you think it might be an added value to develop the legume cultivation and to benefit from its nutritional and environmental benefit? So please give me who would like to answer, to raise the hand, and we will follow it directly with Yasmin Sigirat to give you the floor, but very brief answer, please. Maybe I can see Faris, you ask for the floor.
No, I did not. But actually, I'm new to this, project. But I heard about the Middle East Green Initiatives in Saudi Arabia, and I think the climate part of the beans project, or the added value of the legumes, could be aligned with some of their projects and initiatives. This is just a thought came to my mind that's worth exploring.
Thank you, Antonella.
Yes, thank you very much. For sure, I see a lot of synergies with our project. We are supporting supporting. I told about a couple of them before. There is also the Legumes project. So I think there are very good chances of synergizing and building a network. But how to forget, in fact, also the other platform where Prima with the CIHEAM and FAO and the UFM are engaged, and notably the Sustainable Food System platform, where we can in fact leverage the actions made by the network, the BEANS network. So I wanted just to raise this point very quickly because we don't have time, but it was important to me. I see also other colleagues there that are involved in the platform, and I think there is good connection with this in order to leverage the activity that's been done there. Thank you.
Who's next? Nahla Teodardo.
I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I really would like to highlight the issue that about legumes. While the science behind it, the science will push for action, and it will provide the evidence that convince people of its superiority. But I think approaching this subject of legumes needs to be holistic, starting with science and reaching the food system. And we have been speaking about the food system for a long time. And the food system is country-specific, region-specific. And an approach through the food system is really to make people change, is to initiate change in a place so that more consumption of legumes, less consumption of meat will enhance sustainability and will make it better nutrition. These approaches are so far not being touched. We are left at the stage of research, science, evidence, but it's not reaching the people, it's not reaching the community, it's not reaching the policymaker in order to make active initiatives for promotion of consumption. No matter how much you produce, if people don't eat it, it is useless.
Thank you, Nahla. I think you introduced my question to Teodardo Calles. How can legume be integrated into national and regional food security agenda? Teodardo Calles. Your comment now, you're still mute.
Now,
yeah.
Do you hear me?
Comment on the meta network BEANS also. We are really interested to hear this.
Yes, well, I think commenting before of the network, I think what it's important, we still, our system are dominated by cereals. We have this, we provide most of the food by maize, wheat, and rice. And one of these aim of those network, the whole network, is that we need to change the mentality. I'm not telling that we need to stop growing cereals, but we need to start thinking on in a legume-based system that will bring many benefits. And also, as I think Nala was mentioning about the complete protein profile that when we eat the cereal with a legume, but now we are eating more cereal than legumes. And I believe that what we are doing now in FAO will be very important is if we can include in nationals, promote those benefits on regional and national level. In the moment countries start supporting sustainable agriculture, people will need to use legumes because there is no other way to do that. And if we integrate legumes, as I said, into agricultural policy, then we will have this effect on the farmers. And also, I think one of the issues of this network that is we need to look for a current regional collaboration. We need to collaborate. We are working, but sometimes we are working isolated. We need to encourage this collaboration. Back to you.
Thank you, Teodardo. I'm really concerned with how easy or complicated to change the culinary conditions, the culinary tradition. Maybe Hélène Lemaitre can implement on this. Hélène?
Yes, with pleasure. It is indeed difficult to change culinary transition, but that's where the Mediterranean region is an incredible asset, because the Mediterranean region still has culinary tradition based on legumes that are being lost at the moment. When we see the rapid change in diet habits that is happening in many countries of the Mediterranean region, maybe less so in countries like Italy or Spain, but rapidly in other countries where a very diversified diet is being replaced by a diet largely based on cereal, sugar, and oil. We see that what we think is a very slow movement can actually be a rapid movement. So there is scope for rapid movement the other way around. And this goes probably through different type of value chain, new value chain, a better integration of legumes in the new consumption habits of many of the urban inhabitants around the Mediterranean basin, which nowadays are eating less legumes, are losing some of their traditional recipes, are losing some of the habit of eating legumes for breakfast, for example. And it's still time, I think, in many of the Mediterranean countries to reverse this trend and restore the diets, some of the traditional elements of the diet, while innovating on new food-based products that could incorporate more legumes. So
thank you.
Diets can change slowly, but also rapidly, and not always in the right direction. It's also our responsibility to help it move the right way.
Thank you, Hélène. Thank you very much. Professor Matas? Professor Matas, what about the market reaction? Can the market react easily to the legume value chain?
Yeah, okay. First, I wanted to say that it's nice that we're talking about legumes, but if we look at the data today, if you see the people they consume 90%, there are only 10 crops. So this is the reality. And the farmers, they're not going to have income if the consumers, they don't buy it and they don't need it. So for me, we have to go a long way. First, I think the consumers, they have to realize that legumes, they are multi-purpose. You eat, you incorporate, not eat. You incorporate in your diet, since today, as very well they said, that you cannot find Mediterranean diet the way that we lived when before 50 or 100 years. It's already lost. So they have to incorporate. And in order to incorporate, they have to understand that first they offer health, and then it's friendly to the environment. You are turning activists for the environment. Just by this way, just by changing the food. And the food chain, I'm saying, is the more powerful language that exists in the world. Connects all the people. The behavior from the food can change behaviors, can change policies, can change everything. It's so simple. And while now in Baku, they say they're going to spend money and money, just the food dish can make a great job. And the food chain is important for the marketing. If it's not incorporated in the food chain, today the people, whether we want or not, they take their food from the food chains, any food chain. So they have to incorporate. I don't know which way, but there are ways. And for me, and the project that I coordinate, one of the ways is somehow we have to mimic the taste. We have legumes, but they don't think that they eat legumes. They don't eat the beans, the chickpeas, the way that we eat. They eat pasta, but it's legumes pasta, or maybe legumes, something like this. If the food chain is not adopted and adjusted, I don't think that there is, okay, it can go to the farmers, there is a policy, they can get some subsidies, and after a while, they finished. And we have to demonstrate them the enrichedness of legumes. Sometimes I'm opposed. It's not only the legumes, it's the incorporation. The advantage of the legumes is, I think it is, the way that they match with any food. And the Mediterranean diet, the old style, always they match. And I'm surprised when you see the Lebanese people, how they match it with different other grains, with different other greens, how the Tunisian and how the Italians. They have their own philosophy. So we have to re-educate the people. We can start, and with the support of the food chain. For me, without involving market and food chain, everything is okay, but after a while, weighing up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We still have only 2 minutes. I would like to give the floor quickly to Dr. Gianluigi Cardoni and then Joachim Balduc. Gianluigi? Gianluigi? Yes, yes, please, quickly.
I am permitted to highlight and focalize the attention about the importance between scientists and technicians to create more attention to the exchange of the data, to collect the data, because when I started to work to the legumes 3 or 4 years ago in the framework of the project MedIte, we had a lot of problem to collect, to literature review, and to collect the data, but also to understand better the benchmarks in the Mediterranean area, because it's very, very difficult to valorize the data collection with the data from other countries or other outside the Mediterranean region. Probably is the opportunity to have a feed platform to collect the data. And the publication is, I focalize attention to the exchange of the information. Without data, we have nothing.
Of course. Joachim, you still with us? Joachim?
Yes, I'm
here. Yes, please, your last message.
Thank you. Just really briefly, I would like just to comment on how the advancement of genetic research can contribute to adaptability of legumes in the Mediterranean. And in this point, I would like to focus again on the Belgish project that I mentioned before. And the approach of this project is to develop more efficient, low-costing genotyping solutions for legumes, okay? So I think it is worth pointing out the progress in this kind of projects, for example, on GPS protocol, which is genotyping by sequencing, but also especially in bellies, the development of new CASP markers to accelerate marker-assisted breeding programs, so which can have an impact on this Mediterranean climate. For example, marker assistance for resistance of diseases, or time of flowering in some environment, or resistance to any kind of diseases, or even drought tolerance, or forage yield and quality traits, or even freezing tolerance, which, as I mentioned, can have a high impact in the interest of Mediterranean agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you, Joachim. Before closing, we have a question from Mrs. Dunia Al-Khouri, President of Women Association of Deir al-Ahmar in the Bekaa Valley of Lebanon. Please, Mrs. Khouri, be brief in your question. Please, you have.
Yeah, thank you for all the presentation. Very, very important. Can you hear me?
Seconds for me, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
So I am founder and president of Women's Association of Deir al-Ahmar. So we are an NGO in the Bekaa Valley. We have a lot of collaboration with the Prima projects, and I think that it is very important role of women. This is a brochure about the rural woman role to conserve the patrimony of the culinary that you are speaking about. This is why we have to enhance women to continue in our diets. That's including the beans that you are speaking about. You know, you have a very important dish in the Lebanese food, which is called makhlouta. Makhlouta, that means the mix of the beans that you are speaking about, and very, very, very high nutritive dishes. So this is why you have also to raise awareness for the new generation, the new to learn about those dishes, about those menus that are so important. And I want to mention also, so this is the role of women and the NGOs to raise this awareness, and also we have to improve the benefits of the farmers, because, by example, we have a very, very nice good lands in the area, planting the lands, but it's not well presented to the market. It needs to be proper, to be well presented. So this is a mix between the science and the farmers and the NGOs and the woman role in this field. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Khouri, and good luck. Before closing, I would like, there is any comment, last comment? I can't see any. So thank you for your contribution. I realize that such a wide topics, multidisciplinary webinar maybe deserve 1 or 2 hours more. And I'm sorry to quiz your contribution in 2 or 3 minutes. But I think we can say that we collected the most important information from you, representing your expertise and your institution. Thank you again, and I hope we can see you in other events related to the network of beans and other activities of CIHEAM. Thank you, and have a nice afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You another occasion. Bye.
Bye.